Looking for a taste of Argentina right here on the First Coast? Well, head to Royal Palm Village Wine and Tapas in Atlantic Beach, where they're pouring Luigi Bosca and delightful Argentinian wine. We caught up with their sales executive to learn more. Check this out. Hey guys, we're at Atlantic Beach at Royal Palms, and we're with Eric Miller. He's the brand ambassador for Luigi Bosca, an incredibly delicious wine that we're all going to learn about right now. So Eric, thank you so very much for having us today. This is very cool.
Appreciate it.
So let's jump right into it. Tell us all about Luigi Bosca.
Thank you. Yeah, Luigi Bosca is a family-owned winery from Mendoza, Argentina, the foot of the Andes Mountains. They were immigrants into the country in the late 1800s. 1901, they started farming there. So although considered to us, most of us Americans, as a newer world to be drinking Argentinian wines, they're quite, in fact, very, very old at what they do.
Yeah.
They were actually farming in the Basque region of Spain prior to that, making their own table wine. So they have years and years, over 120 years of knowledge just for the wine and soils of Argentina. So they brought me in as the brand ambassador for the state of Florida. If you don't represent yourself in the United States, the other 80 countries we're sold in won't really pay that much attention.
Really? Okay, that's true.
The United States has a lot of wine clout.
I would assume the other way around.
Well,
Yeah,
certainly,
like, you know?
I'm sure that France still feels that way, but when our Cabernet and our Chardonnay won the Paris, France show in the 1970s, that changed the tone altogether, and that's when California really started to explore their farming opportunities and started making wines under single varietals like we have here today. We're starting off with the Chardonnay.
Yeah, so what is this?
So this is the 2021 Chardonnay from Luigi Bosca. This wine is our tier one. It's farmed in the foothills of the Andes Mountains. So those foothills are very much almost desert-like of an environment, very arid, but they have the water dripping down from the Andes Mountains that keeps all those plants alive. So as I was saying earlier, grapes are very much like bodybuilders. They're trying to build body. You want your wine to be full-bodied, but you want it also to be toned. So much as bodybuilders will work out in the gym and then sit in an ice bath, that's what these grapes do every night.
Interesting.
They get up into the 90-degree temperature point during the daytime, then that nighttime a desert temperature comes in, cools them down, gives them the nice bright acidity that you're tasting.
Yeah.
Chardonnay.
Really sturdy.
Very
plant.
bright, very light.
Wow.
And you have a few others here, or a couple others? What are these?
I do. So this is my tier one Malbec.
Okay.
Most people, anyone
like
who's been drinking wine since the 90s knows that Argentina is known for Malbec. So the family that owns Luigi Bosca, the Aruzo family, they had determined many years of farming that Malbec was the distinct grape for the region, and they wanted to protect that. So we can all remember everyone was drinking Malbec in the mid-90s. That's because the Aruzo family started the very first ever DOC Malbec, which means you go in front of a tasting panel, and you have very strict regimens on how you're allowed to farm it, what percentage of it must be Malbec, it must be from a certain region, you have to use water from the Andes.
Oh, wow.
You can only have a certain amount of grapes per acre of farming territory.
Holy
so
smokes.
you end up with what's called the DOC Malbec. So I'm sure you enjoyed the tier one
delicious.
Malbec. Yeah. Really nice, ripe, fresh, bright berry fruits, hints of raspberries and strawberries, the lighter of those. The one thing I will tell you about pairing these wines with the food for the holidays is you can control the way the wine is going to taste by the amount of air and the temperature you give it.
Okay.
Yeah, you were talking about this off air. This is fascinating. This is
these wines are at cellar temperature right now, so right in between 55 and 65 degrees.
Okay.
If you wanted them to be a little spicier, you could let them get up to the temperature of your house, the 75 on your thermostat. If you wanted them to be less spicy and more of the young juvenile berry flavors, you could put it in the refrigerator for 20 minutes before you serve it. So they would be really versatile depending on what kind of food you had out on the plate. Like I was saying earlier, if your turkey's overdone, then I recommend you let the Chardonnay get a little warm. I work on the fast and fat pairing method. Whereas if your food is fat in your mouth, you want a fast wine. But if your food is fast, you want a fat wine. So it's not really pairing wines, is complementing wines.
I already think we need it. I've got more segments in mind for you.
I thoroughly enjoy the educational side of it.
Yeah, this is really fascinating. And then you have one other one here?
Yes, then I have the DOC Malbec.
Oh,
so this is the top of the top.
Okay.
This goes through a minimum of 18 months in oak barrels. The wine grapes have to be planted 4 feet apart. Very stringent protocols go into this, and it was to ensure that the Malbec that was being shipped out of the country in the 90s, we became the very first ever DOC Malbec in 1991. We're one of only 2 that shipped out of the country to the United States. So in order to control the quality of Malbec going out of Argentina, the Aruzo family that I work for determined that we need to have a DOC board, and we need to have growers and vintners and political officials sitting in on this and protecting our #1 export in the wine business.
Absolutely.
So
there's a noticeable difference between
a much bigger hitter.
I gotta do it side by side. Let's see.
You can control this wine a little bit with temperature, like I was saying earlier, but it's a big hitter no matter how much you put it in the refrigerator.
Yeah, no kidding.
So this is if you're going to have a big prime rib roast or a rack of lamb or something like that. It would even be good with if you were going to have something chocolate for dessert. I like a little bit of chocolate and a big red Malbec.
Yeah,
that would be delicious. So is this what people will be tasting tonight?
Yep, so these are all 3 of the wines we're going to be tasting here at the tasting from 5 to 7. So come on in, there'll be no corkage, so you can buy the bottle, consume it here. They have one of the best menus in town. Royal Palm is definitely a hidden gem if you're out at the beaches. If you can't make it out to the beaches, they are a sister restaurant and wine shop with Riverside Liquors.
Yep.
They're also going to have all the wines available. I'll be doing the tasting out of the beach. I'm a beach guy. But then if you can't make it out to the beaches...
I'll be doing the tasting out of the Riverside one, because I'm the Riverside
There you go. If you can't find them there, or you can't make it out to either of the local little bars and restaurants, shops that have them, we're available at Publix, we're available at Total Wine, we're available at ABC.
Where can we go for more information on all of this, though?
www.luigibosca.com. We got a full interactive webpage. You do not have to enter your birth date, or your email address. We're not going to spam you. We'll just give you some information and show you where the wines are available locally to you, or if you wanted to have them shipped to your home.
And actually, let me ask you this: do folks need to register for this tasting, or can they just show up?
You just show up.
First come, first serve. I'll have plenty of wine, so don't get in a car wreck coming. I'll definitely make sure that you won't miss out. But we'll be here from 5 to 7. I'll have wine to go the whole time.
Well, thank you so much.
My pleasure. I really appreciate y'all trying the wines with us.
This has been fantastic. We learned a whole lot. Hopefully you guys come out into the tasting tonight, and you can always catch this segment again on our website. And Roy